poker's legendary champions, next generation stars, and tireless ambassadors of the game, sharing their wisdom and guiding your journey to high achievement on the green felt. This is Chasing Poker Greatness with your host, Brad Wilson.
Welcome, my friend, to another episode of the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. As always, this is your host, the founder of ChasingPokerGreatness.com, Brad Wilson. And today's guest on this show is one of my all-time favorite human beings in the entire poker world, John Apestyles Van Fleet. Besides being one of your favorite podcast hosts' favorite humans in poker, Apestyles is also an absolute legend who has racked up more than $17 million in lifetime online MTT cashes with no signs of slowing down anytime soon. As a matter of fact, since the last time the Great Ape was on Chasing Poker Greatness, he's began a brand new adventure, Twitch streaming. It shouldn't come as any surprise to you that because of his authentic nature, elite level of play, and tireless work ethic, he's now one of the most popular poker streamers in the world. If you've ever had aspirations of making it big in the MTT streets and are looking for somewhere to learn and grow, I can't imagine checking out a more valuable MTT poker stream. The link to Ape's Twitch stream will be on the show page of this episode. Now, in today's conversation with John Van Fleet, you're going to learn why challenging games with zero financial risk manage to tilt the living bejesus out of even the most stoic of poker players, what not to do when you enter a brand new poker community, the one thing that is absolutely necessary to make it in the world of poker, and much, much more. And before you dive into my conversation with Apestyles, I just wanted to take a second to let you know I've recently completed my third cash game course, and it's called Neutralize Flop Leads. With one PDF and a couple of hours of study, you'll never again feel confused when facing a donk bet in a single raised pot. You can check it out at ChasingPokerGreatness.com/Nuffle. That's ChasingPokerGreatness.com/NUFFLE. So without any further ado, I bring to you one of the greatest poker players of all time, John Apestyles Van Fleet. John, how you doing, sir? Welcome back to the show. It's been too long.
It has been a while, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while. You participated in my very brief run of that silly-ass little game that I tried to incorporate into the podcast.
Oh, man. I was ready for it. I was ready for the game. I was like, okay, this time you're going to pause and you're going to tell the truth more.
It was like too much time and energy for me to put it out there and do all the polls, and I was like, I like the concept, but people don't really seem to care, so I'm just going to remove it because it's too much work for me.
Yeah, it was fun for me, though, just getting destroyed.
Well, hey, I'll say this. I learned this about you. You're a horrible liar. So, yeah. I learned that I can trust what you say because you are awful at lying.
Yeah, I really am. I actually, I don't have that much practice at lying. But, in poker, people are like, oh, when you're playing poker, you're lying. And it's like, no, everyone's consenting to play this within the rules of the game. And it's strategy, you know? It's not like people always associate things with the game that are there but kind of aren't there. They're like, oh man, that bluff took such big balls. And I'm like, no, I'm just doing it with the combos that want to do it. You know what I mean? People associate other things with poker other than just.
Well, they create a narrative, right? I think that's the thing that I see very often is emotions flare. Once emotions flare, they construct some narrative to make sense of the emotions so that they can understand it.
Well put.
Thank you. I think about this stuff a lot.
Me too.
You play poker, right? Have you ever played a session with somebody and you take a break and they're on break and you're chit chatting and they say something that is happening in the game that totally is not happening. It's almost like you're both playing in different games. They're like, this person's coming after me. They're crazy. And it's like, am I playing the same game as you are?
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. And It can actually be interpreted a lot of ways, though, as far as like how much you can trust eyewitness testimony and things like that, too, right?
Oh, for sure. Everything's about perception and just our own perspective of a thing.
A lot of things too, and actually, this is a total shift. And I want to go back to what we were talking about, but I get now that I'm doing the Twitch streaming thing, I get more haters than I'm used to, which you just do. The more people there are, the more trolls come out. You know, it is what it is. And I realized at first I let certain words affect me, you know, and then I realized that those people that's like they're just really upset, negative, angry people, and they're projecting whatever their shit is on me, right? And that's what a lot of this stuff is people projecting their own experience, perception, etc., onto situations that have nothing to do with what they're saying. Right?
Yeah, most people care about themselves. They don't really care about other people. Like, and they certainly don't care about you, right? Like, you're just kind of the target that they're choosing to aim their anger and frustration and depression and anxiety at.
Interesting, yeah. I think that it's true. And you know what? Instead of just being all offended by that, like, I think maybe now I'm just going to be like, okay, like, hey, if you need to get that out, bud, sure.
I don't believe you.
Well, you know, this is the way I view it, right? This is truly the way I view it, which is that, like, I accept all the love that comes in, and I'm just like, thank you so much, and I give the love back, and then someone's bringing in their hate that I don't have, and I'm like, oh, thanks, but nah, you can keep that. You know what I mean? you can just keep that hate, because I don't need that in my life, right? And so for me, of course they can get it, man. Sometimes, like, of course, occasionally they catch me at the wrong moment, and they're gonna catch something from me. And I do throw a little bit of shade here and there, but in general, I try not to get too affected.
Yeah, I don't tend to get angry when I play poker. Like, I almost never just like get rage out. And when I'm streaming, I'm pretty much even keel, and I just try to come back with like funny jokes and kind of make fun of them. And that's kind of gotten me into a little bit of trouble because, like, I've done guest streams for other platforms, and I'll like talk shit to one of their viewers because they say something, and I'll just like make a joke. But that's sort of how I deal with it. I just try to like say something funny and move on.
Either way, like my way is just like, I have a number of different responses. Sometimes, but recently it was pretty funny. I made a huge punt on the bubble of a $25,000 buy-in. I didn't realize there was a player with one big blind, and I reshipped on a super aggressive small blind raise. A guy raised to 4 big blinds. I reshipped twos for like 36 bigs, and he had me slightly covered. He had queens busted when there's a guy with 1 big blind. Massive punt. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't streaming. I would have seen that and been like, and the thing is, I also misinterpreted some bubble data that I'd seen where even stacks, we reshove a lot on people where if they're raising too wide because they can't call with anything. Like, he has to be folding like 90-something% for it to be okay. But I misinterpreted that stuff, and anyway, it was just I acted too fast in the moment, and I was like I was so upset. And this guy, right when that happened, right when I got called and busted, said, "I want a refund for my Apestyles bundle." And in the moment, I was like, "Fuck your refund, buddy." It just kind of came out, and everyone, it became like this thing, like where it's a command now, and people are like, "Let's let them know our refund policy." But like, and people say it a lot now. And I didn't want to say that, but it just came out. I don't remember saying it, but it's a thing now. So
human beings are just drawn to emotion because we are emotional creatures, and we like seeing vulnerability. Like, I think that people like seeing Ape being vulnerable, right? Like, you're upset, you're annoyed, like you're showing emotion. You're not just this robot that's making perfect decision after perfect decision.
Yeah. Although, you know, like, I got like an angry emote, and like no one ever uses it because I really don't get too angry.
Yeah.
Part of that is actually a little bit manipulative on my end. because in my mind, like showing anger means you won. So like I do hold in sometimes a little bit of anger, but for the most part, I think that I'm genuine. Like my reactions to things are genuine, maybe a little bit dampened because I I'm probably more likely to like yell a few swear words if I'm by myself than if but when I'm by myself though, I still do breathe, think, hey, you can be like this or you can move on. And then I get back to it. So I think that I'm fairly genuine. Man, this is a nice long ramble, but I'm trying to say the overall thing I'm trying to say is just that like when I'm live, I think I'm fairly genuine, but I do hold back some of my like more like aggressive responses and things like that, just because, yeah, I don't want that out there. I don't want to put that energy out there.
Yeah, you don't want to, do some things that may get clipped and shown everywhere until the end of time with some particular people in the poker world when things kind of didn't go their way. I think that to me seems a little bit over the top. And on the like when I stream, I would say a thing that I don't do in almost any area of life is cheer. Like I don't celebrate winning pots. Like you know what I mean? Like I've never been the person that's like, yeah, like I won a 600 big blind pot. I'm just like keep making decisions, right? Like it's
no, I don't, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Live, I actually just kind of think it's rude.
I think so too. Like you're like this motherfucker just lost. Like he just got crushed, and you're yelling in his face.
You're like gyrating. You're like yeah, like doing this thing, like like dancing around. They just like lost their last money. Like what are you doing, man? Just chill.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Although like it's good for TV. It's good for TV when people do that obnoxious stuff. But like I don't like it.
I can't make myself do it. I can't. I just can't do it.
I mean, like, and the thing is, I also think that I've trained myself to just kill the top and the bottoms of the ups and the downs. Where when something good happens, I'm like, hell yeah, and then when something bad happens, I'm like, oh, that sucks, But like, it just happens, and because if I didn't do that, I don't think I would make it because it's just too emotionally draining to deal with all that up and down and disappointment. And you have to just focus on the decisions. The stuff that really, really sticks with me is when my decisions suck. That 2-2 hand, oh my God, stuck with me for a week at least. I was just beating myself up. But
yeah, that's the thing you can control, right? Like that's a decision you can control. When you fuck up a decision that you can control, then I think you ought to be upset with yourself. When things happen beyond your control, it's like whatever.
Yeah, what can you do? Like, what's the point? I get it though. I understand, but you just have to be able to accept the things you can't change, right? And I've learned that's focusing on the process and the things that I can control is the successful way to be here. What's funny though, because when I play chess, everyone was like, "Man, you just completely lose your poker face." You get like, I got really tilted, like because a lot of my like study or a lot of my mental game training I learned is poker specific, basically, because if it turns into chess, I'm just like I tilt.
It's a different world. You don't know how to deal with the emotions you feel in chess.
It's weird. But I guess also in poker, when I play poker, I feel a sense of mastery, just because I've studied these spots a lot. Now there's a lot more to learn, and I learn how much I need to learn every day, but at the same time, like I still feel like I understand the ins and outs like pretty deeply in poker compared to chess.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Like look, it's very rare that I say or do something that is out of line, like especially live poker. I think like one time I raised my voice at a guy for like 1 second because it was like he folded a hand and he was like, I folded this here. And I said like, I don't care what you folded. Like that was all I said. And like I immediately racked up my chips and went to my room because I was like, your head's not right. Like that's not you. But then if you sit like me, my wife, and a good friend down to play like a board game like Catan, it's going to be fucking screaming. Like I get so tilted out of my mind in Catan, and never get and we're playing, there's no stakes. I don't win or lose anything, but I still get super angry in different games. And now that you say it, that's very weird.
I have to watch that though with me because I can be kind of competitive too. But I've gotten a little bit better about accepting, not being super cutthroat playing like board games with family, just because I have an approach to games, right? And well, it is kind of funny though. Like I remember when I was learning Guitar Hero with this girl Maria, and like at first she was loving singing along with it and messing up and doing the easy stuff, and I thought it was kind of lame. But then, like, I started getting better at it and faster and like competitive. And she's like, "It's not fun anymore." And I'm like, "It just got fun."
Progression is what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like, not just sucking forever.
Yeah, not like the singing along. Like for me though, that's I enjoy like getting better at things and stuff too. So
you and I basically like I think as you grow and mature as a human being, we can kind of like let these small things go. At least in my case, like I find myself sometimes playing a game against like my kids, right? And I realize like I let them win sometimes, and they value it so much. Like it almost makes me feel good to let them win because they feel like they've accomplished something. And there's just more to life, I think, than just try to be cutthroat and crush everybody at everything all the time.
Crush them. It's a tough world. I agree. There was a point in time when I held the perspective that I will never lose intentionally, like in chess or something to a kid. Nah, I will now for sure.
I think you should do it not just to children, but even friends or family. I think that's the next step, John, in the evolution.
That made me breathe heavy. Lose intentionally to friends and games. Oh my gosh.
Look, here's the thing.
Baby steps.
Like you said, when somebody's like celebrating and then there's this other person that's like crushed in games, whenever you lose, like as bad as it feels to lose, that other person feels just as good when they win, right? And I think that like if you can tap into an awareness of how good they feel because they just won, then it lessens the sting a little.
Oh, cool. And you know what? I'm going to let everybody know that I do that sometimes, but I'm not going to tell them when I do it. So when I do lose, they'll always be like, maybe.
Now you just got to have an excuse every time. Bam. Yeah, just let you win. That's how it works.
I would never say that. I would just be like, I would let them know before we played that sometimes, I'm a kind of person that lets people win.
Yeah.
No. But I've never done that. I've actually never let somebody win in a competitive like game. Actually, kids, yes, but I haven't ever. I'll try it.
We'll see. Let me know. Get back to me on what happens. I used to look. So I would play Rocket League. And these kids would talk trash in Rocket League, right? Like they like spam and they troll and like what a save. Like they bring it, man. They talk mad trash, and like when they win, it's like too easy. And I just realized like sometimes it would trigger me, and I find myself being the old man sitting there like pressing his PlayStation button and like trying to type out the words like "fuck you, guy." You're like,
it's like
you're the worst. Yeah, it's like a 12-year-old. And then one day I realized, like, man, you lose and they talk trash. Like, let them enjoy that good feeling of beating you, the thrill of victory, right? Like, when they experience that, like, I feel like it's a good thing, and it's probably a good thing that I don't win every time, and then I can also enjoy when I win too.
Yeah, and they've received the other end of that too.
That's why they do it.
Yeah.
They know how awful it feels, and they're just trying to like get back at the world.
Yeah, there's when I watch Deadwood, there's one of the guys. I can't quote Deadwood because that show has some interesting dialogue, but
I still call people hoopleheads to this day.
I thought it was a good show. It was basically, he said something along the lines of like, life is painful, but then eventually you get to give some of that pain back. It's like. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's the perspective.
Was that the main guy? I can't even remember the main guy.
The main I forgot. It was a long time ago, but it does seem like some people live by that perspective. Like they've been harmed by the world, or they've had a tough time, and they're just you know, what do the kids say? Waking up and choosing violence. But yeah, I think some people like do try to get back at the world a little bit, you know, and
yeah, that's why they join your stream and they talk trash. That's who those people are.
yeah. Although, you know what, my stream is actually pretty cool. Like, there's not a lot of tolerance for that. Like, people don't get banned super fast or anything. It's just like the energy's really good in my stream overall. It's probably got the best, as far as I've seen, the best like chat of Twitch. I mean, I am biased, it's mine, but like everyone's just really, really genuine and supportive, and it's not like fake positivity either, where you just have to always pretend like you're like in a good mood or whatever. You know, things can be going bad for you. It's fine. Just be real. But in general, the stream like has actually, when I've been like getting bad beats or making mistakes, the stream's actually like talked me up before and been like, hey, head up, get back in the game. And I'm like, okay, hell yeah, let's do this. And so like a few things that I didn't expect to happen. One of those was that I really like feel like I've made a bunch of new friends / family in my stream, and I've met a bunch of new people, and that's been cool, although kind of overwhelming, but like mostly awesome.
I can say that like growing a community, it is really cool. You do develop multiple relationships with people you wouldn't have met otherwise, and it's a really great feeling. And I would say too, like there's an expression that your vibe attracts your tribe, and I 100% believe that. In that your vibe is chill, cool, don't deal with a lot of negativity, very positive person. That's the kind of people that you're going to attract to watch your stream.
Yeah, I think that's been what's been happening so far, and that's something that I was really surprised by and really liked, is that yeah, it's just that
hey man, we don't take that like in my Slack community. Somebody was like posting bad beats or something, like complaining about stuff, and like I wasn't even around, and by the time I got back, like the message had been deleted, and like multiple people were like, yo, we don't do that here, this is not the place for that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, my guys are getting it done.
It sucks sometimes though when contributing members like sometimes like members of the community will post bad beats, and I'm like, but then like, you know, I have to just be like, hey, I'm really sorry that happened, but please in the future, like, we're just trying to keep the negativity out of it. We all go through bad beats. You'll never hear me, or you won't often hear me even talk about it once it's happened, and I kind of expect the same from you. Like, and you know, I don't know if that's harsh or not, but if everyone just started posting their bad beats all the time, there's nothing productive about it. If there's strategy in the hand, if there's something that I can learn from the hand, or if it was just like ultra sick, it has to be like really sick.
Well, like maybe. A friend of mine sent me a bad beat one time. He got it all in with like an overpair against jacks for 100 big blinds, and like ran it twice, and like the dude binked a jack twice. Like that to me was just, he wasn't even upset. He thought it was hilarious. Like that the guy could like bink his 2-outer on both boards.
That's impressive.
It is pretty impressive. And like sometimes there are interesting decisions in pots that you lose, and those decisions ought to be examined and looked at closer. But the result of the hand is ultimately not what matters, and the reality is, man, poker is such an emotionally draining game of like super high highs and super low lows that we're kind of all on the brink, right? Like we're kind of all on the brink of like shit can go bad. Like things can just start going bad. And when you have a bunch of negative people that are posting bad beats, you're like, oh my God, like even if I've been running good, like it's going to come, the other foot's going to drop, and I'm going to start losing a bunch of hands. Or if you're running bad, you think, oh, it's never going to end. Like, look at all these bad beats. It's just not a good thing.
Exactly. And it's like, I'm trying to keep it together when I'm playing super high stakes here, right? And so it's a lot easier. It's hard to have to explain, like right after I just lost something. It is kind of impolite to ask me right after about that hand, especially if it's questionable. But like, you know, people don't think about that stuff too much. They only like they're often thinking about their own stuff. They're not always trying to be rude either. It's just, you know, whatever. lack of empathy, I think. But oh man, there was something I was gonna say that I thought was linked to that. Nope, lost it.
It's gone. Maybe we'll talk about it in the round 3. Believe it or not, I do actually have a template that I wanted to follow in this conversation. This is just us freelancing the first 20 minutes of the show.
Oh, we're not on template.
Oh no, this is just us talking about stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, oh yeah. Like regarding the stream stuff. Yeah. I mean, it feels like you're being attacked a little bit, and I have negative self-talk, right? Like, or I've gotten way better with it, and
Same.
I can see it now. I can see it, and like be like, okay, like that's, you can be like that. You can keep obsessing, or you can have a more positive outlook and really try to focus on the games that you're in to try to like make up for that, so you don't compound the error, right? And so I'm better at that now. But having some little troll saying all the shit that I'm trying not to tell myself really sucks sometimes. You know what I mean? So that's the other reason, right? I don't like to be like censorship police, tell you what to say, all that stuff. But like at the same time, I am really trying to focus and play winning poker here. So it makes sense to ask people to be positive, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there has to be a level of self-forgiveness, like as it relates to your deuces, right? This is the only way that you can move forward from these situations. When you do something like that, the only thing you can do is forgive yourself and let it go and move on. Because the alternative, like in my experience, is just rumination, focus on it. It detracts from my play. It detracts from my quality of life because, like, no matter how a poker session ends, I always do something stupid and torch a stack or don't size optimally on a river value bet, or like I can always find things that could have been improved upon. And if I didn't let those go, I would just be a crazy person. Like I just would.
Yeah, I mean the counter argument to that is that, you know, usually to be like the very best at stuff, you have to be a little bit obsessive and, you know, and beat yourself up when you make mistakes. I don't know if that's so true. It's definitely not good from a mental health perspective. And I do think that, yeah, that's someone told me that one time. They were like, man, it was in this like come alive thing. I went to this crazy like retreat thing, and someone told me, they were like, dude, like you talk really, really negatively about yourself. Like, I don't know if I want to be friends with someone that talks about themselves like that, because I don't want them to talk about me like that. Right. So the point I'm trying to make is that I do think it's really important to remember that treating people kindly includes yourself. Like you can't, if your self-talk is negative, well, that's going to mess you up.
And to be honest, I think that's a little bit of an unfair thing to say to you, because I don't think that you would treat somebody else like that. And I think that is the point. The point is
that was his point, actually.
Yeah. The point is like when other people are like going through it and they're upset, they're depressed, whatever it is, what we do as human beings when we're close to this person is offer compassion, right? We offer compassion, love, and support. And then when the perspective gets shifted and it's us, for some reason we don't offer that love, compassion, and support. We offer we throw haymakers at ourselves.
Exactly. And the thing is, I believe that when I do that, like, and some part of me feels like I'm justified. Like I should beat myself up over these things. And I'm saying that you should actually thank yourself mid-session. Always be like, thank you for working hard and trying to make money. Thank you for doing this, you know? That's really important. And then like
greatness bomb.
Greatness bomb. Nice.
Greatness bomb.
I got it from Pads. But yeah, I really think that's important. And then that your ability to be kind to other people and navigate through life also starts with your self-love, right? Because if you're not giving yourself that, it's hard to give it away. So I think that it's really important to do that and appreciate yourself, have some gratitude. And that is what helps me, I think, play long sessions and why I'm still in the game for a lot of reasons. But I think that mental game aspects like that.
Another, I'm going to give you something that I have given some of my private coaching students that I think makes a big deal. And I have them verbalize whenever they make a good decision. So whenever they make a good river value bet, like they choose a great sizing, it gets paid off, they run a great bluff, I have them give verbal affirmation like, man, like that was a great bluff that I just ran. And I try to have them keep score. Like score is 1-0 me, right? Because if you keep score and you're verbally affirming that you've made good decisions, whenever you punt, whenever you do something subpar, you kind of realize the score is 20-1, right? The score is not 0-1; it's 20-1, and it's a lot easier to feel better about the score being 20-1 than it is
like
0-1.
That's good. That's good.
So, John, you've used neutralized flop leads in the past 24 hours, correct?
Yeah. So I got basically the slide with all the info on it on Friday evening, and yesterday I played a session of 1KNL on Ignition and played one particular pot that I remember where a fish just donks flop turn river into me, and I ended up winning with a hand that I would have folded before looking at the slide, but I ended up winning like a $400 pot instead, and the course is $99, so definitely paid for itself very, very quickly. And I think that'll be the case for even people that aren't playing as big as 5-10 no limit. Like, I think this is a course that will very, very quickly pay for itself given how much more donking there is at lower stakes. And I think one of the most common questions I see asked in the Greatness Village Slack group is, what do donks mean? How do I deal with donk bets? I think that's got to be like in the top 3 most frequently asked questions.
You ought to feel very excited when somebody donks into you because some good things are about to happen.
You said like you probably don't need anyone to teach the course, or like you can just look at the slide and learn all the info yourself. I feel like you, Brad, will have to be there because I'm almost sure that anybody who looks at the slide won't believe it looking at what they're supposed to do, and we'll have to confirm with you that like you didn't make a massive typo somewhere and that this is actually what they're supposed to do, because it's pretty shocking the optimal way to deal with fish donking into you on the flop is.
If you'd like to check out neutralize flop leads so that you're never again confused when a fish leads into you in a single raise pot, head to chasingpokergreatness.com/nuffle. That's chasingpokergreatness.com/nuffle. And now, back to the show.
We only have 30 more minutes. We haven't even touched the question. So let's touch at least one question here, and maybe we'll just do a round 3 because it'll be necessary. We'll run out of time, and I think that's fine. I enjoy talking to you, so I'm down for another. The first question that I have is, who is your biggest influence in becoming a professional poker player?
I would say my friend Chase is probably, okay. Can I tell this in long form?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So, when I first started playing, I knew how to like study because I have chess. So I got a bunch of books, but I was all over the place, but I did throw myself like fully into it. Right. Then I was losing for about 1.5 years, different, like deposited $50 at a time, whatever. Then I met this guy, Chase, at a cash game, and he was making a living in like 2004. He had spreadsheets. He knew about ICM in 2004. He had like all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, like I can actually do this for a living. And that's when I really knew that I could do it. And he set me up. I still had plenty of up and down around it before that. And the sit and go grind wasn't really for me, but that was the first time that I saw that like it absolutely is possible to make a living here. And that was exciting to me.
Chase, is he still in poker?
I think he like, I don't even know what he's in, but I'm sure he's making money, whatever he's doing. But because he's definitely that kind of a guy. I think poker was probably too small for him as far as like money's concerned.
That's the thing. A lot of the ultra smart poker players that have this just massive raw intelligence and ability, like they're super successful at poker, but if they would have chosen any endeavor, they probably would have been even more successful than they were in poker.
I'm not sure that I was one of those people though. I was somebody in life who.
I was talking about your friend Chase, not you. That's why you still play poker.
I know, man. I know. I was agreeing with you, but then I was like, I'm not one of those people. Sassy. No, you're absolutely right. Like, there are a lot of people in poker who you're like, well, if you applied this to some hedge fund stuff, like dang, you'd be ultra rich, right? And that's actually what like Jordan is doing. Me personally, I'm in it for the love. Like, I love poker. Like, I like to play, and I'm just really lucky that I found something that was like this.
I mean, me too. Like, look, growing up, how many times you get asked, what are you going to do with your life? Like, what are you going to be when you grow up, right?
Oh, man, I got in trouble. Can I tell a story?
Yeah, go for it. Sure.
I was a little bit of a troublemaker in school, and my coach Davis came up to me, and he was like, what are you going to do with your life, boy? And I was like, I want to be a fat, bald PE coach. and like, he was yeah. So I got in trouble for that, even though I was just, technically answering his question. But that was a mean thing to say as a kid. And I shouldn't have said it, but it was also
hilarious.
he was coming at me, man. So,
talk about sassy. That's some sass right there.
True.
No, I was saying, like, I was asked hundreds and hundreds of times. I never had any answer. Nothing ever resonated with me. Nothing like moved me ever. Like, people are like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to do all these things. And I'm like, that does not resonate with me. I have no idea what I want to do. And then when I saw poker, it just clicked. It was like, I want to do this. And it was the first time in my life that I had a passion, a pursuit that I was passionate about. And I'm still grateful for that passion today.
Yeah, I actually, for me though, it was a little bit different. We have a lot of similarities. It's pretty cool. But I think that mine is like, yeah, I found it in chess. I was like, ooh, this is something that I really liked. Like, this game, I want to play chess and then forever. And then I was like, wait, there's no way I'm ever going to be the best, because I didn't start young. And you usually have to be like a master by the time you're 12 to be like at the top, right? And then that disappointed me. So I was like, if I could just play this game for the rest of my life, then I'd be okay.
Okay, well, if we want to get semantical here, like, I would have been a professional baseball player. That would have been cool. That would have resonated with me. That just wasn't on the table.
Well, the thing is, like, I feel like we're like violently agreeing today. What's going on? But like, the thing is, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that like nothing really fit with me. And then I found chess, but it wasn't gonna work. And I was like, I got a psych degree, and I was like, maybe I can be a professor, because people are weird. They're interesting. They can learn about them. But
I love psych.
I did like it, and I graduated with honors or whatever. But like, it didn't. I was gonna have to be a professor, right? That was the plan. Ironically, actually, I ended up being sort of a professor of poker. But that's but that the plan was to be more of a psych professor. And then I found poker, and that's when it all clicked. And I was like, okay, if I put it all behind this, this is something that I can do that I love in my life and make a living out of it. And man, I'm super stoked that it's still working.
Yeah, it's still a thing. I want to correct myself firstly too, because like, I guess it's not fair to say that poker was like the first thing, because I love lots of games. Like, right? I love doing. It was just, how do I make money playing video games? Like, it wasn't a thing, right? Like, I can't make money doing the things that I love. I love playing spades, but I can't make money playing spades. But poker was like, oh, I can make money and play cards at the same time, and that combination was really like, a holy shit, I can do this thing. Totally.
And I have to admit that there were like, I've looked back and I've realized that there were like a lot of things that just really, really fit, right? My interest in people and people's patterns, my high risk tolerance, my sort of disassociation with money, all those things combined, and then like my love of games and logic and things like that. It turned out that poker actually fit me perfectly, but that's in retrospect. I had no idea that was going to be the case, but yeah.
Yeah, I think like if I could go back, I mean, psychology, like if I had 1,000 years to live, I would certainly get a master's in psychology and just really try to understand people and learn, because people are just so fascinating to me. And I guess people is what makes poker fun to me, because it's like trying to understand the psychology of what people are thinking and what they're doing and how do I tactically address this. It's just, yeah, I love people as well, and psychology's a thing that I've realized as I got older resonates with me a ton.
Yeah, for me, it still is something like that. Not like scholarly journals. I got really sick of that, to be honest. I got tired of academia like real fast. But I really like stuff about the brain and the relationship between the brain and like meditation, like Rick Hansen stuff. Like I like a lot of different, not hardcore neuroscience at all, but like more just sort of like layman sort of psychology and brain stuff is always very interesting to me. I think that we have it all wrong, though. I think that our perspective of the brain being a meat computer is probably not correct, but I'm not going to get too into that.
A meat computer? You can't say meat computer and not get too into it. Like, let's go into the meat computer.
But that's what science is looking at the brain. Everything is supposed to be all like everything is very, very about. We're comparing the brain to a computer. That's the scientific materialist view of things. I don't think that the brain is a meat computer. I think it's more of a electromagnetic, like receiving and transmitting organism. It's more like a radio. But I'm not going to get into it because the reason why I'm not going to get into it is not because like I have some like crazy knowledge on it. It's the opposite. It's because I've read half of a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not an expert on that stuff.
The stuff that I love is like the mindset, the performance. I think performance is really interesting to me, like how people self-sabotage, how we go about doing things, how we hold ourselves back. Like I've learned so much about myself and how much I've limited myself just to stay safe, right? Like keep myself in a safe space and not really find my own limits under the guise of whatever excuse or reason that I applied. But that stuff just fascinates me. Like, you know, when a player's like obviously much better than the stake they're playing, right? Like they're playing 100 no limit, but you're like, dude, why are you not playing 500 or 1K no limit? Like, why are you not moving up? Why are you not taking shots? Is it like a bankroll thing? What's happening here? And typically it's not a bankroll thing, right? It's more of, it's just they're afraid that they keep themselves small because they're afraid of making 40K a month. Like really, that's kind of what it boils down to is like, I think that they're afraid of realizing their full potential, or they're afraid of trying to realize their full potential and not being able to.
I think that I agree with you, but I also think that you can put it into a bit of a different perspective, like, which is just that the way the brain works is kind of shitty, like in that we have way more words for negative things than positive. It hurts more to lose than it feels good to win.
Yeah.
So that is why people don't stay in poker, I think, sometimes for the long run, is because winning hurts way more than losing, and that for some people they're just really avoiding that negative, like all that negative feedback that happens when they play high. I got a friend that's got now, because of Bitcoin, like 15 million, but he won't play bigger than 1-2 because he can't keep his win rate above 5. He's like, when I play like 5-10, I can only win rate at like 3, and I'm like, that's more money. That's like, but he's like, I don't feel right unless I'm winning above 5, and you know, like, I'm just like, well, okay, doesn't make any sense. So yeah, anyway, keep going. My bad.
I don't know what I was. I don't know what I was going to say. I lost my whole train of thought.
I'm good.
So
I'm good at making people do that.
Yeah, we both just lose our whole train of thought. I was going to say that I love the soft disagreement with the the agreement plus, but I agree, but
you know, I've been told that I'm argumentative, and I'm like, oh man, like I don't mean to be. Like,
no, man, this is. Yeah. I love being wrong. I love when people disagree with me. Like, I think that like being wrong is a great thing, because when I'm wrong, I get to learn and I get to grow, and be better?
Well, the thing is, like, I wasn't disagreeing with you as much. I was just more like saying that, like, I think that your perspective on that subject is correct, and then I added in like another framework for how I think I look at it. Yeah,
risk aversion is just like Nick Howard's brother said that a lack of risk aversion in poker is almost like a superpower, and he's right. Like, well, unless you are like Stewie Younger, in which case it's kind of like the opposite of a superpower. But like for skilled players, highly skilled players that are not just pure degens, like a lack of risk aversion or a high tolerance for risk is a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, mine is through the roof. So, but the thing is, I could have ended up like a Stu Unger, right? Like I definitely could have at one point in my life. So, I actually was talking to a guy the other day on a podcast who was a young kid, and he was like talking about how he got into poker and he studied it. He did play money. Then he eventually put a little bit of money on, and I'm like, see, I would bet money on you to win money in poker long run, you know? Like, and I don't even know if you're like smart or whatever. I just know that you have a methodical approach that's going to pay dividends in poker. I'm an outlier. Like, cause see, I went kind of like, I went in like full blast, like trying to be the best in the world from day one. Like, I just that wasn't really in my head, but like I really wanted to be so good at poker, right? But the way he's approaching it, yeah, my way is all or nothing, and it's going to end in nothing sometimes. His way, a slow, methodical approach where he slowly moves up as his skills increase, and he is training and tracking everything. That's going to win money in poker almost always. My approach, the way that I got here, I don't know.
He's got a high floor, but I would say that the ceiling is in question. Like how high his ceiling goes, at which point does risk aversion come into play, and at what point does he turn into your friend that can only beat 5-10 at 3 big blinds per 100 and just sticks with like 200 no limit for the rest of his life?
I actually didn't mean to discourage him. I think I might have a little bit in the. Just because I was telling him that I think, like, I was listening to him talk about things and he had so many different interests, and I was like, I think that you are a jack of all trades, a Renaissance man, and I'm a specialist. Like I throw myself into one thing, for better or worse, and I go 100%. Now, specialists, I believe, make money, but I actually respect jack of all trades more than I respect a specialist, because insects are specialists and it's just doing one thing really well, right? But for like extreme financial success in the poker sector, I do think that you need to throw yourself into it with full intensity, right?
In the beginning, for sure.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, like you just have to, because there's so much to learn. There's so much you need to do, so much work that needs to be put into making this a successful career path. Because like if you're not obsessed and immersed in poker, it's very unlikely that you're going to make it over the long haul.
I think so. Man, I gotta address something too.
Yeah.
Like, I've got this thing like I did this video where I talk about my problems with addiction, right? And people come into my stream or message me and they're like, man, I'm just like you. Like, I use drugs and alcohol too much. Teach me how to play poker. And I'm like I succeeded in spite of that shit. That is not like, stay away from poker, probably. Like, if you have addictive tendencies, poker's probably not for you, right? I managed to channel that addictive energy into what I'm doing to be successful. And now I have balance and I had recovery and like I found all the holes that you can fall into, but I managed to somehow find success here. But my path wasn't linear, right? And the other thing is that like, when someone just won't stop, like they just need to do it, but they have that addictive tendency, I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to put your addictive energy into being a professional poker player, put your addictive energy into being the best player you can be. That means you cannot degen. That means you cannot do Like you have to have a set schedule. You have to do this. Like really try your best to be a professional, and then maybe you can be successful, right? But in general, I don't think people prone to addiction are going to do well playing poker for a living at all.
No, the friend that I came up with was naturally way more skilled than me and could not, also had problems with addiction. And sometimes you just can't overcome it. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. If you have bad addiction problems, you're done. Like poker will, like you will get sunk having one vice. And if that vice is addiction to the pit, to gambling, to alcohol, you're toast. Like I don't know how you're here, to be honest with you, because like you shouldn't be, really. Just because it's such a hard thing to overcome. It's almost impossible.
Luck, hard work, help from friends, and that's about it, man. But
a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent. Let's not sell yourself short. You got a lot of talent too.
I was actually kind of hoping you'd say that. But yeah, it's been a fun journey, and now it's cool being in a place of stability. But I am hesitant to recommend it to people as a career path. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, you can do this too. Like, I'm like, I can help you win money at poker, but I'm not super sure if you should quit that $60,000 a year job. I don't know.
Yeah, if anybody's listening to this thinking about getting private coaching from me, the thing that I don't do is in the consultations, I ask people, like, what's your life situation? What's your goal here with playing poker, trying to improve your play? And if people say, like, I've got a family and I'm trying to play poker professionally, I don't work with them. Unless they have like some sort of redundancy, they've got a backup plan, they have a bunch of money in savings with like a job whenever they want it. Like, because to me, like, it's too much pressure for me as a coach, because I would be devastated as a coach if somebody had a family to provide for and they quit to play poker and like look to me to be their coach and they failed. Like I couldn't live with myself. So
I had that happen. Not quite like that, but like I had it happen where I basically just took on complete financial responsibility for another human being, and they were losing at poker for me, and then I was like, man, this job sucks. I'm like losing money, and I got to be a cheerleader / therapist / coach. Like this backing business is not for me. Now, I think on a large scale, it can be okay and actually really good. But for me personally, and people come to me like want to do coaching for profit, which we have at BBZ, and it can be really good. But for me as a coach, I'm like, listen, the reason that I coach is to have reliable income, to have income that I can plan around, So it's not, I don't want to gamble more.
The thing about coaching for profits, like I don't do coaching for profits either. And it's because
we do. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys do is like a big stable and a big group.
Yeah.
I don't do like the individual thing, because like my guys that are like, that have the potential and they're like ready to move up stakes, they just want to pay the flat hourly rate. It's the people who are playing much smaller that want coaching for profit, which basically means that the coach gets the short end of the stick one way or the other as it relates to like the long-term money on like a one-to-one basis. But I guess if you're doing like 10, 20, 50 people, or you've got a process in place that helps everybody where you don't have to give as much one-to-one attention. Because I think
that's what we do basically with coaching for profit. We have a coach. We have personal coaches, I think, actually, not just one. But they can attend all of our seminars, and we have 7 seminars a week, every day except for Sunday. I do 2. So there's like a community aspect in the seminars too. The seminars are also topic based often. So just joining the seminars alone, there's also like pre-flop charts. So like if you are in that along with having a private coach and all that, I think that can definitely help your it's worth it for a lot of people. That being said, like on like a one-on-one level though, I'm not really that interested in doing it because sometimes I feel like I get overpaid and then I get underpaid. I don't know, just like I just want to be paid for my work when it comes to like this kind of thing, right?
Same.
I already deal with enough,
Yeah.
enough of the other thing, like the ups and downs, like Sklansky bucks. No, I don't want to be paid in Sklansky bucks.
I once built out a business model for like a potential staking operation and was just looking at it and kind of just amazed, like, how do people do this? Like this business, like it is a very tough business and you've got to have your shit together because again, like there are some things that can happen that just totally tank everything. And like paying for everybody to get one-to-one coaching is not a thing that you can do when running like a somewhat large stable.
Well, what you have to do, the trick there is that you get your best guys the best coaching, and then you get them to lead study groups, and then it just kind of trickles down.
Yeah, so they work for free. So they're coaching people for free. That's the trick.
Yeah.
They just don't realize they're doing it, but they're basically...
But they're getting free coaching from the top, right? So like it works, and it's part of the community aspect. But that's actually what happens at BBZ, but also what happens in the BBZ coaching and BBZ community is that we've got the guys at the top who pretty much agree on the direction that we're going in, and it's really cool. Like sometimes I'll see the chat, and it's like people are using my terminology, quoting my stuff, bringing up charts from my stuff, and I'm like, cool. Like so there is like a community building thing that happens with stables that you can participate in without being a part of a stable, though. If you join BBZ, man, I'm such a shill.
Hey man, if you think it improves people's lives, then it would be selfish not to promote it. If you think that it's a thing that can add that much value, then you're basically obligated to promote it, right?
I like that. I like that idea. It's a little tricky with the Apestyles bundle because I know that I worked hard on it. I know
what
that
is the Apestyles bundle?
Why are you asking about my bundle, man? No,
shouldn't it be like a bunch? Like I feel like if you buy something from Apestyles, it needs to be like what's a group of bananas called?
I don't actually know, but it's just the bundle thing is like this new term. But like basically what happened was I had all this material that I made for Max Value, based on like people asking me to make this material, and also because I was like, I can kind of make the beginnings of a course. And then Max Value, there was issues with marketing and stuff. It didn't go down, but I had all this material that I made that I knew was good, and I brought it to Jordan, and he was like, "Well, I got the marketing. Let's do this." But he's like, "Well, this material is like some of it's kind of old, but it all works. It's just dated as far as like when you did it, and it's not a full course, so we don't want to call it a course, but it's almost a course." So we were like, "Let's just call it the Apestyles bundle," and we just threw it. But the thing is, it is well put together, classroom style and everything, and it's 11 hours of video for like $99, and it talks about pretty much everything that I think about post flop. It is missing some pre flop stuff, but it's a post flop course for the majority of it, and there is like you can get pre flop charts elsewhere, of course. But man, it's taken off. Like people just really, really like it. When Jordan first started streaming and promoting it, he was like, "Man, I think it's going to be big. Like, people, the traction's really good. People are coming back and really enjoying it." And that was cool. And then he was like, "But then you should probably start Twitch streaming." And then I did that, and then that blew up, and that was cool. But the thing about the Apestyles bundle that's hard for me to promote sometimes is I still sometimes have some self-esteem issues, even though like 1,000 people have bought this thing and told me how great it is. Sometimes I'm like, is it really good? Like, are you sure?
Of course. This is so I can tell you, like, this is a thing that it took me forever to make my first course. Years. I would think about it, I would want to do it, and then I would sit at my computer and I would fire up poker instead. And this happened forever, right? And one day I realized that like my biggest value, the thing that drives all the things I create in life is impact. I want to make an impact in people's lives. And I want to, in their poker life specifically, like I want to help them improve their poker game in this massive way. And my fear was that whatever I made was not going to be good enough, right? And that kept me from actually executing and going through it and making the course. And for years, I would tell myself, like, what if it's not good enough? What if everybody hates it? What if it just doesn't do the things I want it to do? And one day, it all kind of clicked to me that I realized that, my fear was not that it wouldn't be good enough. My fear was that if I invested myself fully, I wouldn't be good enough. That I wouldn't be good enough to create a thing that made an impact in people's lives the way that I wanted to. So like that was really what drove my procrastination. And at some point I just said, fuck it. I'm going to do the thing the best way that I can and put it out there. Whatever happens, happens. If everybody hates it, like I told myself, I'm not going to go down saying like, well, maybe I could have, right? I at least want to know whether or not I'm capable of doing it. So I did it. I put it out there and people loved it. And I was like, okay, well, that was just like a fear of the unknown. And you just have to, sometimes you just got to try shit out. And like, basically, if you're never failing in life, you're probably not pushing yourself or taking on enough risk.
I mean, if you look at the way that the Apestyles bundle occurred, you can see that that was kind of an issue with me, right? Because it was like I made this thing. I didn't really want to call it a course. So I'm like, okay, we'll call it a bundle. I want to make sure that people get like, actually the other part of it though, is that I wanted to make sure that people had nothing to complain about, right? I wanted to make sure that for your price point, you get exactly what like, you get what it's worth. And with the bundle for 11 hours of video for $100, yeah, you get a lot of stuff.
It's probably underpriced, to be honest.
It is actually, and that's why we never give any kind of discounts on it or anything. It's because
I don't give a discount on anything I ever make ever.
Yeah, I don't either. Because I think that it already is cheap, or not cheap, but affordable. I'm sorry, $100 for a lot of people is not cheap, and I mean, hey, if you steal $100 from me, I'm not gonna be happy. So I need to watch out with that kind of terminology, you know.
Basically, it's value. Like they consume it. We know that it's $100 worth of value, assuming that they pursue poker in earnest, and that's all. Yeah. That's all you could do.
And that's all I try to do. And the thing is, it's people have responded really, really positively. So that's been really cool. How this has all worked out, you know, the fact that I even like had my own section in a book. First time I wasn't sure I could do that. I even had some help with the first book, and then I just did it. You know, one foot in front of the next. I want your interpretation of this story, though. I'm in a study group, right? Mm-hmm. And we're doing this ICM project, and my buddy George, he does the first part of the ICM presentation, and it's amazing. And I'm like, crap, like I don't even know if I can compete with it. This is like, he did everything I wanted but better. Like, what am I gonna do? And I just thought and I couldn't think of anything. But I kept running through my head. I was like, man, Isaac Newton said that, like, you know, he's not that smart. He just thought about one thing. So I just kept thinking. But the truth is, I'm actually not sure how to interpret this, because I found something new. I actually had a new discovery for a problem that we've been having for a long time, basically regarding this idea called pressure within ICM. And I found the solution to it, and I organized it. And so I actually pulled something out of my ass that was like amazing. But I think that it happened right when I decided to actually sit down and do it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not sure though. I'm not sure if the thinking was useful or not.
I think it was useful. Like the way the mind works, you know, are the gears keep going. It's like when you take a test, right? You know how the conventional testing wisdom is like, you read a question, you think you know the answer, but it's not coming to you, so you just skip it and then come back to it. Mm-hmm. Basically what happens is like the diffuse mode in your brain is subconsciously still working. So like when you actively think about something, even if you go and, you know, go to the park and walk around and don't think about it at all, or go watch TV, or go to sleep at night, right? How many times you think about something right before you go to bed and you wake up and you're like, oh, like you have new insights? It's because your brain is continuing to work. So I would say, like, absolutely, because you thought about it, that's probably where it came from.
Man, I got to tell you this story that it's Jordan's story to tell, but it's a cool story, so I'm going to steal it from him because it's his story, but it's related. Like he told me that he was playing like a lot of soccer as a kid, but he had problems with footwork. And then right one time before a game, he was like 10 or 11. In his dream, all night long, he practiced his footwork. And then the next day, he came in, and his footwork was better. And the coach even commented on it, right? And I was like, and Jordan is not the kind of human being that would ever make up something like that.
Look, I can't remember what book this was in, and we're going over right now. We're already at 4:30, but I'll tell this story. We'll wind down. In a book, there's this guy. He's in like a prison camp, right, for like 15 or 20 years, a very long time. Every day, he would visualize that he played golf, like 36 holes of golf every single day. He visualized it, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets rescued. He leaves, and they're asking him questions. They're asking him like what he wants to do, and he's like, "I want to go golf. Like I want to go play a round of golf." And they're like, "Well, you've been in this prison camp for this long. Like your muscles have atrophied. It's going to be a while before you have the strength to go play a round of golf." The next day, the dude goes and golfs a full round, and his body's completely fine. It holds up, right? I think this was actually The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin, because he had another thing where he hurt his arm, and it was in a cast, and it wasn't like it was going to atrophy before like the world Tai Chi championships, and he visualized it getting stronger. Like every day he would work out his one arm, visualize the other arm. When they took the cast off, his other arm hadn't atrophied, right? Like, and so I 100% believe you that like there's power in visualization. And I think going back to like, we can tie this back into the meat computer in our heads, that the brain is just it's a mysterious and powerful thing that we probably don't give it enough credit for how amazing it really is.
Totally cool stuff, man. Cool conversation.
Yeah, I guess we're going to end on me talking a lot, which is not my typical way of ending things, but well, this is about you, man. You're my guest, right? You're my guest. This is about the Apestyles chasing poker greatness.
Well, I feel like it's always a conversation. Anytime you do something like this, it's not really about me. It's about us relating our experiences in poker together. So to me, it never really has been that much of an interview. I've had interviews before where the person seemed nervous where they were talking too much. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll interview them. You weren't like that though.
No, I know. It was like 70% in jest and 30% a little minor, just self-deprecation.
You know how I know you're a nerd?
Why?
That you just did that whole percent thing.
Yeah, typically I say like 72%. Just it's like my go-to, like 73.5.
I do that too. But did you know that like something like 77% of stats that people like quote are made up?
I didn't know that. 67% of my podcasts end this way, Mr. Apestyles. We'll end this way. Where can the Chasing Poker Greatness audience find you on the World Wide Web? And we need to schedule directly a round 3 where I ask you some of the questions that I had prepared.
Oh my gosh. I thought I made room for that. My bad. Anyway, hey, check me out. Apestyles Poker on Twitch. Apestyles is my Twitter. And on PokerStars and ACR, I'm Apestyles as well. Apestyles is where you'll find it. And bbzpoker.com, of course, is where you get the Apestyles bundle and all our courses. Got seminars as well that we talked about. Appreciate you, buddy.
By the way, a bunch of you're not out yet. I was gonna let the audience know. I Googled it that a cluster of bananas is called a hand, and one banana is called a finger. So there you go. Buy the Apestyles hand.
Bundle works better, man. I'm gonna stick with bundle. I appreciate your suggestion though.
it's the internet. What? All right, man. See you. Take care.
See you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Chasing Poker Greatness.
If you have yet to subscribe to the show, please take a second to do so on Apple Podcasts or wherever your favorite place to listen to podcasts may be. For more content from me, Coach Brad, please visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/enhanceyouredge, and I'll see you next time.